You're watching the 420 Pace Network, found at 420radio.ca and paceradio.net.
This podcast is for adults only, should not be used as a meal replacement, and may contain nuts.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Noobie and The Doobie. My name's Timmy. I am the Noobie.
Mary Jane, I am the Doobie.
We have today on the spot, D.E. the Bud Guy. D.E. I dragged out that E.
I told you, you're supposed to say, "What up, D?"
What up, D? What up, D?
You can tell he's the newbie. He lives to the name.
What up? Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
So thanks for coming.
Like D the Bud Guy is a very, very obvious. You're in the cannabis industry. You're the. Oh no, wait. I guess that could be non. Yeah, you might like Bud the beer. Actually, I never thought about that. Okay, but so when you go out and you are D the Bud Guy, this clearly is part of your identity and your journey. And that's what we're really interested in talking about on this show, is hearing people's journeys, hearing why they're in the space, what they're doing in the space, and how they got into the space in the first place. And me being a newbie and MJ being a doobie, our listeners come from both worlds as well. And we really believe that people's stories are the best way that we can probably begin to really break down the stigma. So where does your story begin in this? How do you become D the Bud Guy?
Okay, so I'm very much a newbie and a doobie myself. I'm new to the whole social media section, as far as I've only been doing this for a couple of years now, and it kind of started when I began growing. The doobie part being the fact that I am a recreational smoker who's become a medical licensed grower. My journey began a little over 2 years ago, and for me, it started with an outdoor grow. This is actually my third outdoor grow, I should say. It was just completed last summer. So with the legalization in Canada, much like everybody around me, it was like, hey, are you going to grow? And for me, it was definitely yes. My wife is a great gardener and we have beautiful space. So it was a chance to kind of start things. So my journey really began outdoors. It progressed from there, of course.
So being a recreational user became a medical grower. We've often talked on the show. MJ is a medical consumer and grower.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about how there's a lot of recreational users are in fact medical users, and many of them don't even know that or are aware of that. They think they're doing it recreationally, but ultimately it's causing some sort of balancing effect within them.
Yeah, even as
absolutely
preventative.
Preventative, yeah.
Right? Like, in my opinion, even as a preventative measure.
I agree. I agree. It's definitely safer for the people around me if I'm consuming.
Right? I smoke weed for your protection.
Yeah, but all kidding aside, Timmy, I really agree with what you're saying. Like, I think that the danger in that, though, is that we as people have a habit of self-diagnosing ourselves too. So you want to be careful that if this is your reason for doing it, it doesn't become a suppressant to something else. Like, I know in this case, a lot of people use it to treat depression, but it's you don't want it to. I don't know. I don't advise maybe using it as that kind of numbing agent that like maybe alcohol and some other drugs have been kind of prone to do to people in the past. And do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it can easily be used as a. We were talking today on. Now, this might not be the same day that this obviously comes out, but this morning in real life is Blue Monday. So it's the day where depression by statistics seem to peak in North America due to the fact that we're in the middle of winter. Christmas bills are all now starting to become realistic because those credit cards are calling and all those overspending. And people's have already, within about 2 weeks, they've all their New Year's resolutions have failed. And so people are in this intense state of depression. And we were talking today on my, I do this show in the morning on Instagram called Smoothie, Avocado, and Chat. And we just chat about different things, but I'm on a health journey myself. And we talked about the fact that, that there is medicine that's needed for some people that are battling depression, but there are also some people out there that are using other things in their life to sit and say, oh, well, I'm depressed, that's why I drink. Or, maybe in this case, that's why I smoke. And we went back to a lot talking about the fact of, well, have you tried sleeping better, getting more exercise, and eating better? Because those three things might solve your problem before you start pretending that something else is actually and it's just an excuse to smoke or to drink or whatever.
100%. 100%. That's the basis of any good medical practice, I believe. I mean, I think that's the first thing that any doctor should or usually does actually ask, is they're going to look at your sleep routine, your diet, and the aspects of your life before they even begin to try and diagnose you with anything or even look at any secondary treatments, Timmy.
So in your particular life and journey, because you acknowledge your description of yourself right away was, I'm a recreational user, but you're a medicinal grower. So
that's right.
Where does it? Do you feel that for you cannabis is simply recreational?
No, and I'm glad you asked, because I do a lot of live feed discussions on Instagram with my friends, and this topic comes up often. And see, here's the thing: I really I myself, I'm just going to say how I do things. And at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, I start with a concentrated rosin. I do what's called dabbing. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with that, it's basically a product called shatter or rosin. It's a much stronger version of cannabis, and it has secondary cannabinoids present, things like CBD and CBA, and again, I can explain some of these things to some degree if you like, but it's been decarboxylated, which enhances it. So there's those are kind of the reasons it does that. But what I find by doing that is that it gives me a much more different cerebral high. It's a much more concentrated and consistent euphoric experience when you are dabbing than you are, say, hitting a ball. I'm a big advocate. I have glass. I use pipes. I pretty much consume it any possible way that most people do. But for me, it's a different experience. If I find that if I don't start my day with a dab or end my night with a dab, I either don't sleep correctly or I don't really, I don't know, I kind of get I find that smoking joints, pardon the expression, it's a completely different high altogether. It's a great experience though. It's important what I like about a joint or the dab is that it slows you down. It makes you it brings you back into the moment a little bit. And a joint will help you lose the moment. And that's what I like, a joint is a good way to meet people. I like the sociability of a joint where, especially now, it's not like you're carrying a bong somewhere with you. And I think that if you're hitting a pipe, people are usually looking at you and wondering what you're smoking versus the fact that you're smoking a pipe. There's all kinds of thoughts that come into it. And I got friends that recovered from other addictions that refuse to smoke a pipe because of that, because it's too much of that process for them. There's too many similarities for them. So in a long-winded way, yes, I'm a strong believer in medicine. And I also I have great stories of how that really has affected my family on a medical side as well too. And if you like, we could certainly get into that. But just to end that point particularly, I really find that for me, it's definitely medicine. And there's a recreational time. It is definitely a social practice for me. If I go and I meet my friends, this is the first thing we're going to do. Alcohol for us is kind of like a maybe.
I thought it was interesting that you threw in, you said smoke a joint, and then you said, pardon the expression. What is it about? Because MJ and
I think it's an old way of thinking. Okay, I think terms like weed and joint and stuff like that. Blunt's a very kind of blunt is a very specific thing. It means like, you know, you're smoking a blunt wrap, or it's a much larger cigar style type of a thing. So if you're not familiar with the definition, that's the difference. But what I find is that when we use older terms, and if we, like, there's a balance that we need to get to with cannabis between old habits of calling it like the hippie names, and pardon the expression for calling it a hippie name, there I go correcting myself again, right? Versus getting it mandated as a full-blown medicine, because, you know, with pharmaceutical classification, there's a whole other box of things that will be opened up, and, you know, we could go there and not go there. It's just, you know, I have an opinion on that as well, obviously. But I what I do think is that until we get to the point where it's readily accessible to the people that need it, we need to keep it as it is. We're not ready to grow as a society until everybody catches up. There's a lot of people in the States that can't get a concentrate, so they'll never really, or potentially not legally, be able to have the experience that I get medically. And that's not right to me.
Well, up until like, I can't remember what year it was 2000 something. But you probably know this, in Canada, it was legal to have a medical license to consume flower, but it had to be in combustible. You could not bake with it. It was actually illegal to turn it into any sort of concentrate, including butter. So children, this is what it meant. Children who had medical cannabis licenses for whatever reason had to smoke, or they had to burn it in a vaporizer and put a mask over the child, and this was like, it didn't make any sense. This is what you're like, I agree with what you're saying. The rules still need to, we need to grow where we are to get better rules in place. Now it's been overturned because it was a stupid rule to begin with. You should be able to give your child cookies over making them smoke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and especially now that they understand how it differs, like, you know, the thing is cannabis now, because it's accepted and it's looked at as a potential medicine. Okay, and I'm just going to call it potential because not everybody's on that agreement with it. Now the studies are happening, so now they're making up for all this time that they had. You know, when they were busy jailing people and kind of calling it the devil's lettuce, they weren't looking at it. But now, if you look, like I'm not 100% on this, but I know at one point, and I thought I read that it's the current, like, medical cannabis is the current potential thought process at the American Diabetes Association as a potential, like, actual cure.
Right.
So with that being said, like, you know, I guess that it brings me, like, I wanted to share a story with you, if it's okay, about medicine and how it affected things, and about perception. Okay, so I'm going to tell a very personal story. My mother doesn't consume cannabis, but she's never been super against it. She's always been surrounded by people in her life that when they used cannabis, it led to stupidity. It led to people hurting themselves by getting on, you know, quads and stuff like that, and breaking their collarbones. Or it was the time that, you know, like, I was coming home late, or the times that we eat edibles and get a little too stupid or something like that. Like, she looked at it as a very juvenile, she had a very poor perception of it because that was her vision of it. Okay. And then her sister got really sick. And her sister went from, so my aunt, one of my favorite aunts, okay, the leading thought at the time was that she may have had diabetes. Of course, diabetes is almost a rush to in my family because it's been so prevalent, and it's such a huge cause for a lot of things. Like, its symptoms are so similar to a lot of other symptoms too. So they always kind of start there. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it seems to always come up. And in treating her, they gave her all kinds of heavy medications, things like morphine and stuff like that, which caused her to go from 160 some odd pounds down to like 80 pounds in a very, very, very fast time. So you can imagine how we felt looking on the outside in. It just looks very, very, very scary, right? And so my aunt's a long-term recreational smoker. She's always been for it. She was the cool aunt that used to sneak a little bit to me when I was growing up. Like, you know, she was cool like that. But she reached out to me because she knew I had some friends and, you know, a little bit of, you know, connections when it came to the medicinal side of things, because she heard about some of the stuff I was doing with some of the friends that I made, and she asked me if I could find her some help. And I had a really good friend of mine, okay, a company called Leaf This, if I could say that. And what she provided me was an RSO oil for my aunt, okay, which was really good because the RSO oil really helped her. What it did is it gave her that pain killing effect. It took a lot of, it gave her the ability to rest and to kind of, so it gave her that dormancy, I hate to say it, but like that part of it that she needed to fully get better. But she also gave her like these things that were natural and that gave her energy and gave her appetite and things like that. So I gave it to her on a Sunday night. She finally kind of came out, seeing everybody, and I gave it to her on a Sunday night when I was finally able to give it to her. And she texted me the Monday morning, and she was up making breakfast for her family for the first time in 2 years. Okay. And like, she sent me this text, and it was like this very heartfelt thank you. Bless the person who made this. I've never, this is the best I felt in 2 years. Like, I feel like a person again. It gave her dignity and energy and the strength to fight off what she's going through. And she's still at the process where they're still sorting things out with her. But she's a lot stronger, and she doesn't look like that person that kind of really, she doesn't look like, you know, like it's winning, if I could say that. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I have a story also with pharmaceuticals, and it's amazing the list of pharmaceuticals that can be replaced, or at least that were replaced in my personal journey, by one plant. I can't say one plant because it's multiple plants and different strains, and I had to find all that out, and it's not going to work for everybody. Like, it's funny because you said cannabis slows you, like dabs and smoking joints, they slow you down. And that was what Timmy didn't like about consuming when he did smoke a joint. However, we smoked a joint and then went bowling. And then another time we smoked a joint and tried to have a conversation. Like, it's what you're doing. Like, if we were having a dab or a joint and then going to bed, it would be totally fine. Right?
Yeah, well, I think one thing that I've on this learning curve that I've been on, because I tried cannabis for the first time 3 years ago.
Okay.
There's a few different times, and like one of them was the bowling. And once I saw that it was ruining my bowling score, I gave it up. Like, some things are not worth the risk. I'll tell you that. But one thing that I'm learning is this concept of how complex the plant is, and realizing that there is so many different dimensions in regards to strain, environment, dosage level, how you receive it, how it's grown. So there's all this thing that's going on, and we have somebody in our life who was adamant about the fact that the cannabinoids, and I'm a skeptic by nature, so I've come into this industry growing up in the church. 35 plus years, going to become a pastor. We didn't talk about cannabis, and when we did, it was equated to cocaine, heroin. I mean, it was up there with everything that you shouldn't.
It's a drug.
Take that, you go to hell. That sort of level of thing. And
that was information then. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So when this friend of ours, Reverend Kelly, she was talking about the cannabinoids.
Yeah, about it comes in the breast milk.
Yeah, and that everybody's kind of got this thing in their system, and that everybody needs it. And at first I balked, and I was like, no, I don't need it. Like, I'm pretty healthy. Like we talked earlier, I focus on eating better, sleeping better, get more exercise. If I do those three things, I think I can combat a lot of the other things.
You're really healthy.
But what I'm discovering though is that there might be a strain, and maybe we're already discussing adding CBD oil just into my my breakfast smoothies, and that maybe it isn't the THC. And so I think within my skepticism that I had growing up, and my healthy skepticism that I still have now, has at least transformed to the fact that I now see the benefits. I see that there is potential. The word that you keep using is definitely there. And so I stand on now the side of the advocacy of it. But now the skeptical side is continually going, well, show me the science. Show me how this can help me. And if it can, I'm in. But show me how it can do it.
But see, I look at that like it's personal. Everybody is different. Everybody's genetic makeup is different. So you have to find.
But you know how we're all the same? Timmy, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
You said that you're looking at other forms of just overall health, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Am I correct in assuming that maybe some of it's dietary? Like, are you looking at like those kind of principles as well? Are you vegan or vegetarian or anything like that?
I tried veganism for a year. I ended up adding meat back in, but yeah.
Me too. Okay, but let me. So you'll understand where I'm going with this. When I was vegan, one of the things that I kind of learned was just that the whole concept of what you put in your body is kind of shelved around this concept of whether or not you can consume it by ripping it open, whether it's natural for you to actually consume that. And that's usually like the way that we kind of looked at things that we put in our bodies when at least that's the vegans that I was around. And that was the education kind of about it that I was given. And the reason I bring this up is this. If we're not designed to consume cannabinoids, then why do we have cannabinoid receptors?
That is something that I've been learning more about. Yeah, the endocannabinoid system. Yeah, it's a legit thing.
We actually have a system designed to deal with it. So, is it fair to maybe just say that it's likely on that notion? Now, you see why I brought up the other thing first, though, right? Like you see how it kind of. Because anybody who takes anybody who takes a bit of education and learns about the things that they put into their body, and I'm not going, I'm not picking vegan, this and that. I'm just saying in general, anybody who looks at nutrition issues and looks at what they put into their bodies, these are the questions we ask ourselves. So I think there's an answer there. And I think that the skeptic in you should know that there's a cannabinoid system in your body that's designed to deal with that. So I got to think that it's there for a reason.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm on board with. I think I've really come to understand that there is something within, and just like sitting there saying, look, I want to make sure my iron levels are high. I want to make sure my magnesium, all these things that are below.
That's right.
Vitamin D. And so then you have this other thing that is high or low as well. And I think for me, the big step forward was separating the fact that as I grew up, all I saw was the stereotypical, let's use the term smoking the joint. And to me, I equated that with smoking, which I equated to unhealthy living and all this other stuff. So, but now that I found out though about the other ways to consume, and now I'm like, okay, you know what? I had a CBD cookie.
He had 4.
I ate a lot of them. They were really good cookies. But that opened my eyes tremendously.
CBD.
What's that?
I said my wife uses CBD products.
Yeah, and that to me really opened my eyes. And I went, oh, okay, there's another way to possibly receive the benefits and to get the cannabinoid thing. And that's
right.
To me, when I talk about being a skeptic, I say it from the standpoint of I have crossed the line into the advocate side of the skepticism. Now it's a question of, and that's why I enjoy these conversations and the show that we've been doing, which is not just about teaching me, but teaching other newbies.
So, and you know what, MJ will appreciate this. MJ, I presume you grow likely organic as well.
Just think of sorry, Timmy.
You said.
I actually am probably one of the most healthiest looking unhealthy person you would meet. I eat the same crappy processed bagel with cream cheese and microwaved bacon every single day for breakfast, and I say breakfast, but it's what, like 1 in the afternoon.
But mind you, she does have a cannabis leaf every once in a while on her bagel. So.
Yeah, when I do the cheddar cheese. So it's funny you say cannabis leaves. So cannabis was prohibited over 100 years ago, right? And we have this endocannabinoid system within our body. There is a theory, and maybe it's just my theory, but I'd like to think it's a theory that's actually out there. So there's a theory that says that when they banned and made it prohibited, what happened was our diets then started getting, our system became deficient in the cannabinoids. So we started getting sicker. Cancer is doubling, like they're like at a crazy rate. I think that I heard about Dr. William Courtney, who believes that cannabis is a vegetable. It's actually a plant. You can eat it like lettuce or juice it. His wife actually was told she would A, never have children, B, would live past 30 or whatever. And with just cannabis juice alone through a wheatgrass juicer, he was able to save her. She was a patient, and then it's like a love story. They ended up getting married, and now they have children together, all just from cannabis juice, right? Like it's and it's inexpensive to do. You literally can do this at home. You just keep a plant in vegetative state. You know how easy that is. Just lots of light.
Just keep the light cycle above 12 hours. Give it 13 plus just to be safe. But yeah.
So you're saying your wife consumes with using CBD. Does she also smoke or no?
No, my wife doesn't. And mind you, the last time my wife consumed cannabis, so here's the thing. In high school, she smoked cannabis, but she didn't like the effects that it had on her. So it was very juvenile to her. Her friend, who's about 60, she's 67 this year, about a year, almost 2 ago, gave me and her our first dab the first time, like same night, in our backyard. She's a dear family friend, and she's the one who got me into dabbing. And actually, the video's on my YouTube if you ever want to watch it. It's really neat. She throws out a couple of old war stories and stuff like that too as an old timer. But anyway, she educates me on the process, and you kind of see how I experienced it for the first time. And my wife did it then, and she really enjoyed it. She would be the first to even admit that. But she didn't see it as something that was going to be a long-term thing for her. We're not big drinkers either. We're not, we're not super healthy. We eat a lot of fast foods as well and stuff, but we are somewhat conscious. The things that we do eliminate into our bodies are chemicals. So, like I'm a fully organic grower. And the reason I asked about the organics is here's another thing to look at, Timmy, is the source of the cannabis that you get. I grow mine. So I do consume secondary source cannabis, but that being said, primarily my grow is what I grow, and I don't put any chemicals of any kind in my plants at any point. Not even grow things like I can add things to my grow that make it look even better and stuff, but they're usually synthetic based or they're kind of a salt. And I'm not saying that they're super bad for you, but they are definitely eliminatable, and there's an organic thinking that the more pure something is, the better it would be. And because I'm now at the point where as a grower, I'm now getting to the point where I'm able to kind of process this into some of my medicine for personal use. I'm really cognitive of that. So I have a rosin press, which is like, I prefer solventless extractions, which means you don't mix a chemical to it to get the cannabinoids out of it to make the shatter or
you're looking at rosin or hash,
right? Or like, but I've also recently tried alcohol-based extractions and things like that. So I'm learning things, and certain things are better at extracting things than others, and certain things have other considerations, like what you're using to extract it and whether or not it all gets extracted. But then again, certain things are okay to smoke. Certain things are okay to smoke, but certain things you can't consume if they're made with certain things, because then you can hurt your digestive system. So You know, I urge anybody, if they're growing or they're considering to do all this, to get all the information you can and to speak to other people that do know what they're doing. And there's lots of people out there that I have access to as a grower, and you know, they ask me about growing, and like they'll teach me about extracts and things like that. Like it's a great community, and there's always lots of people that are willing to help direct you the right way. Through, like, I'm sure you notice that through your own dealings, like with your channels and stuff. Like, the cannabis community is one of the most biggest hearted communities you'll ever meet.
Yeah, we definitely love the plant. It's the one thing that unites all of us.
There is a very strong unity there.
Well, even like, it's one thing to smoke it and to enjoy, like you say, the rituals of like rolling a joint and smoking with your friends or whatever. But when you grow and you raise that plant from, like, you know, I've got a jar right here of my blueberry headband, and I mean, the buds are not the biggest. I absolutely, but like, I gave some to a friend, and I always do this too. Her husband
Smells like weed.
her husband found the jar because it was curing still, and she's like, he picked it up and was like, "Oh my God, you're hiding the good weed." Oh, we can't see it. Oh yeah, because it's green. So yeah, he's like, "You're hiding the good stuff," and I was so impressed that he called it good stuff, because that means my shit is the good stuff, because it's gassy. It's this blueberry headband from Humboldt. So
that is very delicious. I've had that before.
Oh yeah, so good.
Any band strains, but also like blueberries. Okay, so here's another thing that we can kind of touch on. Okay, so there's a thought process, like in the medical cannabis community, they have certain strains and profiles that they've traditionally used, but they've expanded that, and a lot of them happen to be the berry-based strains and stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, me thinking the way that I do, a mad scientist-y kind of thing, goes, wait a second, aren't blueberries and cranberries and all these things rich in antioxidants anyways? Mm-hmm. So maybe there's a correlation. And the thing is that cannabis terpenes are derived from the same terpene profile as fruit. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, there's definitely a similarity, and there's a correlation there. I'm not smart enough scientifically to know, but I'm willing to say that I think that there's evolution that's being made, I think, in that kind of category, and it's something that we should definitely be exploring more of. I think it's only a matter of time. Like you said that your friend considers cannabis food. Well, then it's only a matter of time before the FDA has it anyways. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, that would be nice.
So everybody has their own theories on this, but why do you feel things went so wrong with cannabis? Why did it get put on the blacklist when it clearly seems to have so many useful benefits? So what is your theory?
Cannabis?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so like, I don't know, I guess the obvious answer is to blame the war on drugs, you know, like, so I do believe that there was political aspects and stuff, and I only say that because, you know, like, at the time the war on drugs became a problem when the U.S. was suffering themselves and the government had to do something, right? And what they did is they had these impoverished neighborhoods in the U.S. where people were getting super sick, and on the other side of the world, they were going after these guerrilla growers and stuff like that. But really, history said that there was more to it, and I'm not going to get into that. The people can read about it and see what they say, but I will say that was probably some of it. And the other aspect is like, the other thing too is like, there's a lot of people that, like, MJ, was it you said that you got rid of a lot of medicines and then just kind of now you use one plant? I think that's the answer. You know, I don't want to say anything that's too kind of specific because of the way that these algorithms work, but I think people know where I'm going. I think you know what I'm saying. Yeah, like, I really think that, you know, what will your parents think when they find you dead from marijuana, I think is what they said, right? Like, there was some real funny shit. that they have.
Well,
but
Reefer Madness. the
She
whole
made me
movie.
watch Reefer Madness, and that movie was
yeah, like
that was
He-
crazy.
He at the end of the movie, he just kind of like looked at me, and I'm like, "What?
I thought,
Like, should I like be worried?
I thought
about
she was
going
going to end up
sleep
killing
tonight?
me. That's the way it looked, anyway.
but like history has shown us. Like, have you guys ever seen the movie Thank You for Smoking?
No.
I might
Look
have.
it up.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. It's a good movie. Watch it. It's kind of interesting. It's about industry and
Okay.
the people that ran different things at a certain time, and it's kind of based on a true story. But it's done for a more entertaining like version, of course. But it's like the tobacco and the meat people, and they all get together. All the lobbyists in the States and stuff. So it's kind of an entertaining movie, but there's a lot of 50% of truth is said and just, I think is what they say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
I love quotes.
As a you have a social media presence that probably is different than your personal social media, I would imagine. Or is it one and the same?
Yes and no. Like my immediate circle knows me as D the Bug Guy to some degree. Like my family knows what I do and they support it to some degree. But for the most, as long as I don't become D the Bug Guy when I'm with them, they're okay with it, But they're happy in the sense that I help them with their personal growth and stuff. But like when I walk around my hometown and stuff, like it's D or people will call me Dwayne,
Right.
And I have like personal accounts that I don't post my cannabis content to my Dwayne account.
Right.
But
Okay.
but I do share bits of it if I think it's important.
So what is it? What drives you? Because some people don't talk about it at all, and some of those people are for still stigma related reasons. Some of them are for they're just more personal. Like if I started to consume again in some form, if we didn't have this show, I probably wouldn't talk about it. But then there are others who feel very.
Are you gonna talk about me? Like I walk around wearing cannabis
no,
and everything,
no,
head to toe, and I'm like sometimes I go out in my onesie. Like I am Mary Jane Baker, 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, this is
with a name like Baker though.
But her
What's that?
and Mary Jane.
Yeah, and Mary Jane, like seriously.
But her thing, her in her, like when we had to put bios together for the show, like it was very clear that she had to put advocate in her thing. Like she has, this is not just a part of what she does or what she needs as a medicinal
it's not
user,
just a passion,
but
it's
she wants to advocate for it.
Yeah.
So there are people who choose to just kind of do it personally, and then there's people like yourself who have a personal presence. And I'm always interested to know what that purpose is for you. Like what are you hoping? Like, do you have an angle? Do you want to teach people about the science? Do you just want to encourage people? What is D the Bud Guy about?
All right, so there's two stages to that. The first one's very easy. It's a connection. I came and when I started growing, and long before I was any good at it, I presented it. Okay, so I was okay with that. I've never been a very competitive person, but I do like connection. I like connection through these platforms, and there's a lot of people who will say that like they're the place where people bully you and stuff like that. And I've had my experiences with that too. But that being said, I find genuine connection. I've met really, really super people. I met you two at Lyft. I went to Lyft to be with other friends of mine. I think that was one of the things I even said to you. I said, I'd love to stay and chat longer, but I'm coming to meet my friends.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I went to Lyft to learn about cannabis industry, to be a part of it, to feel part of it, but for the connection. I made that series, the Cloudy and the Six, my video series, and I did that because it started as a bit of a promotional thing with Raw and with Aim High, but it became a thing about connection. It was always about the people in the cannabis industry. It's about me going into dispensaries and grow hydroponic stores and meeting growers and seeing their gardens and stuff. And so there's that connection. Like D the Bud Guy started at the beginning when they took our ability to connect away. So all of a sudden I put everything I could as a person into this projected outwards to try and draw people in and try and learn things and feel part of something, as a grower, and work towards that acceptance as a grower, and hopefully earn people's respect as a grower. Learn some things along the way. The growing part of me started because I learned from the University of YouTube. Okay, I watched every growers. There's a lot of amazing content growers, and a lot of them are Canadians. Guys like Pigeons 420 and Mr. Canuck. And if you grow cannabis, you know who I'm talking about. These guys are Canadian. They're out there, so they're out killing it, And I kind of wanted to do a little bit of that. Like I've taught people before. I was in the automotive industry. I was in the Canadian Armed Forces. I started as a cadet. Like I've always been comfortable speaking and teaching and things like that. And I've always felt like a bit of a teacher. So for me, it's like this door opened, this rush gate opened of opportunity with the legalization. It was legal for me to do it. It was something that I was enjoying. And I really believe in it. Like, my saying is this: growing medicine is my medicine. Do you know what I mean? Like, so the thing is I also believe that nobody told me not to do all that at once. So I felt like there were steps, there was information missing, and I wanted to dumb it down, because what I didn't like is that all these great, not the guys I mentioned specifically, but at the time, but a lot of guys would be like, oh, here, you can have all this, but you needed like thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And I just, like, it broke my heart as soon as I got off, and I was like, oh shit, that's $1,200. Like, but like, as a grower, I was joking with my buddies. I said, like, I'd watch a grow video, and then it'd be the equivalent of a kid watching a kung fu movie and going and beating all his brothers up. Like, I'd have to go out and treat my plants with all this new knowledge and stuff, right? So
there
the
goes
science,
another, like, however much money also.
Yeah. But I mean, like, so my wife said, no, babe, like, don't go and spend all your money on this. Show me you can keep plants alive, and then do it. And she was right. And what it forced me to do, I learned how to make my own plant medicine. I made videos on how to make CalMag. And then next, I had companies reach out to me and go, if you don't want to make your own stuff, I'd gladly sponsor you. Like, that's really informative and innovative what you've done. By the way, I really like your plants. And I'm like, I'm growing with a house light and tinfoil.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I do, like, now is, this year I'm going to make a grow series for my YouTube channel, and it's going to be basics, very basics. Okay. I've already done a video that shows you how to set up a basic setup if you don't have equipment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a seed through the process, and then it's going to be a base that I can build an advanced growing series off of, where I can share some of the tips. And like, outdoors, I do living soil. I build my own soil systems. You asked about sciences. I am all about the sciences, because I'm a student and I can't wait to share it.
Awesome. And the great thing nowadays with YouTube, or university, as I like to call it, but just YOU. Anyways, is that no matter how many people are out there doing the exact same thing, showing people how to grow, as well as I do, and when it comes to growing, everything will be different. Something that works for you might not work for somebody else. So if I watch somebody else's video, I might be completely useless when it comes to that. But your video might be the one that is like, oh my God, are you kidding me? That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
So
I try to draw people in with, like, if you look at the content that I do create, I try to draw people in with music in a little bit more upbeat tempo, so that I don't lose you. Like, I always found school boring. Okay. Like, but the teachers that came out and did this, like, things slightly different, they really got through to me. And because of that, I mean, I became a student of humanity, I think, like, in the sense that, like, my favorite teachers were the scientist and the librarian and, like, the history teacher. Like, these were my favorite teachers. It wasn't the English teacher. Like, the mathematics guy was cool, but, like, they didn't make it fun. There was no fun in that for me, but the science like my science teacher ate chalk, and everybody thought that shit was weird. You know, like it was enough to break down that barrier and just like, what is it? Like, you know, it took my interest, and I try to do things flashy and loud because everybody's done boring and slow.
Oh, that is true. But it sounds
And
like
I'm not, it's great stuff. Like I learned it through boring and slow. I just think that there's a more fun way to do it. That's all. It gives me connection too.
we absolutely agree. Well, and you keep go ahead.
I actually learned through mistakes. I make lots and lots of mistakes, but I'm like you, constantly making videos and showing people what happens when you don't put your plant into a bigger pot, or what happens if you forget to water and let the soil dry out. You know, like all these things that people will do. So
I think that there's a lot of value in. We often, I've talked about this in my own personal journey. About I'm a very private person, and I like to show people the end product. I don't like to show people I don't like to show people like the journey all the time, because the journey is filled with, you know, errors and failures, and so you just kind of want to work through and get that done. But what I'm finding is that well, I've always known it to be true. Believe me, if it wasn't in the public eye, I might not even be on social media. Like I don't need to be on it personally. Yeah. But I have started to understand the importance of it from the standpoint of letting people see the failures and the things, because that is what we learn from. And you know, my dumb questions that I might ask as a newbie in the space is valuable, and that's what we noticed very quickly, that there were people that were watching our stuff that, you know, a group of cannabis people might go, that's like the most basic of questions. And you know, it's almost, you know, not that you would do it, but some people might, that's kind of silly. It's like, well, no, it's not actually. It's from that very basic thing that a lot of other people are going to be able to learn from asking that dumb question, that question that doesn't, you know.
That's funny. You said notice very quickly, and the first thing that I noticed very quickly was the unit sitting in front of Kermit the Frog. Do you know what I'm going to say about that unit? Do you see the water in it?
I'm going to say that it looks very clean.
Yes. Yeah, we did a video the other day on how to clean a bong, and that is how you should, if you're going to leave it for another sesh, that's how you should leave it. Clean water and not.
I was impressed by Kermit. She was impressed by the clean bong. That's the way our world
It's hot
goes.
that he's wearing a Supreme shirt.
Equally impressive. Very perceptive, by the way, too. You know what? Kermit was, my wife and I was telling you earlier, love thrift store. And so we found that at a thrift store, and I had to take Kermit home. And the bong is,
That's awesome.
The bong's nice. It's a 2-piece freezable beaker bong.
Oh, you got that. Oh, the icing.
It actually, it's glycerin at the top.
So you put that in the freezer, babe.
Oh.
And it doesn't doesn't actually freeze. It's like a cooler pack. So
so it's pretty slick.
Yeah, no, it looks so. It's so
cooler coil. That's what they're called.
Like, okay, I mean, like glass. There's a whole other conversation too. I mean, like I worked in a cannabis a glass and accessory store for.
That's how I got started.
Better part of a year. So I learned so much about people, cannabis users, and their preferences through that. Like, there's a lot of really golden experiences through that. Eh? So you said you worked in one too?
Yeah. So it's so funny. One day back when I actually used to eat McDonald's, it was like 2014, because that's the last year I ate McDonald's. So I was in the drive-thru, and I was like, puff, puff, pass. What's that? I know what puff, puff, pass is, but like there's a store. And then as soon as it opened, the first week I went in there and I was like, what's going on? I would love to like get a job. And I started working there, and there was like a lot of downtime because in between customers. So I had my laptop. I spent a lot of time on the computer watching documentaries. And then when customers would come in, like you're saying, you talk to them, and then they'd be like, you know, I use cannabis for cancer treatment, or I use cancer for insomnia. And, you know, do you have, I learned what a pollen press was. when I was working there, and like the honeybee extractor for for the butane and all that stuff. Like I didn't know any of that, and it was a great learning experience talking to everybody,
Yeah.
and I love
Sorry.
upselling. And like you bought a bong, you're gonna need a bottle of cleaner because trust me, you're not gonna want a dirty bong. And bong, flavored bong water. That was like, I love that stuff.
Well, we know you're in Canada, getting your jacket on and everything.
Chilly, eh?
Oh yeah, it's I smoke in my garage. It's my man cave, right?
Yep.
It's definitely very much. It definitely feels like a cave today. So
yeah,
it's funny. We were talking about Blue Monday earlier, and in real life, it's Blue Monday. It would be hard not to be blue today. We literally got slammed with the biggest snowstorm.
Yeah, I shoveled my snow. I did my driveway right before I came in.
Yeah. Now, is that space? Is that space that you're in? Is that just a man space that men tend to have their men cave, or is that a way for you to get away because your wife doesn't consume? I'm interested in that relationship because we're in a relationship where I don't consume at all, and she does, and you've talked about how your wife.
I did just consume literally.
That's true.
So
yeah,
it's both because it's not even just about consuming cannabis. It's also about content creation, right? So as I mentioned earlier, is I do a lot of like lives on Instagram and things where I'll have conversations.
Like a studio as well.
Yeah, so it is a bit of a studio in a sense. That's why I chose to kind of come in here, and it allows me to just smoke and converse with you and not affect her. Like right now, she's not feeling too well, so she's resting, and that way I don't have to be intrusive. If she wants to watch her show, she can watch her show. But although she doesn't consume, she does assist me in a lot of ways, and I mean, like you both are a testament to it. I mean, like when you do content creation, you're not really just you. I mean, like whether you recognize it or not, you're not usually just a one-person gang. There's usually other people that are assisting you along the way, whether it be with the actual filming or, like, if I do a giveaway as an example, my wife will help with the data input of the names and stuff like that, and people will send her roses in the chat, and like it's become a bit of a personality within the Bug Guy brand, as everybody knows Tony, and. Yeah. And I think it's great. Like they're the unsung heroes. Is the spouse of the grower, the spouse of the content creator, the spouse of the newbies and doobies of the world. Like like without that right support system, it's hard to do what we do.
Yeah, well, you can't see it, but we've got our 12 wives on the other side of the
camera.
Excellent.
They help get everything going. Has there ever been? You were talking. I mean, you talked about you and your wife knowing each other back in high school. Is that correct?
Well, no, we didn't. Here's the thing: is we actually I can tell you our story. Our story's kind of neat itself, I think, because my wife and I have only been together for 4.5, maybe 5 years.
Okay, but I think I'm connecting where I thought the story was. Yeah.
We went to the same high school. We had all the same friends. And never met.
That's crazy.
We live in a small town, so statistically, it's just really weird. But I will tell you that when we did meet, I fell in love the instant I met her, and I really mean that. I went home. I called my mom, and I said, "Mom, I would never believe that I would ever even fathom saying this, but I'm telling you straight up, I met the person that I love the most in life." And I told my mom, I said, "Write this shit down, Mom. I found her." And the crazy thing is like we like realized like we're on the first date, and she goes, "Well, what did you look like in high school?" And I go, "Well, actually, a friend of mine tagged me in a post recently. Like, here." I pull out the picture, and I show her the picture. You know what she says? She goes, "That's me on the other side of it." Shit, you not. That was her on the other side of the same fucking picture.
What?
Sorry. Oops, sorry.
No, that's crazy.
You can say picture on the show.
Sorry. So, I mean, like, it's really just kind of weird. And then I remember feeling like when you meet somebody that you love so much, like you almost like, especially in my case, like you feel like, wow, like why, where were you all my life? Like, and you start to almost feel cheated out of that time a little bit. And then it dawned on me, like, honestly, I have a lot of growing up to do, and I think everybody deserves the person that is good for them. And I try to be the best person I can for her too. And I mean that. I'm not trying to swallow myself up. I mean, I really do mean that. And I maybe just wasn't ready to be what she needed yet. So I'm a firm believer in that. And I think the destiny brought us together when it was right. So
Well,
I'm
it's
grateful
funny.
for it. Like I couldn't be D the bug guy without T the bug gal, you know?
That's sweet. Yeah, the
Yeah.
universe works in strange ways. Like Timmy and I, like I feel like the universe brings people back in around the same area. Like we had been close to each other vicinity wise many times over the years of our lives, but we just didn't meet until it was like the right time, I guess. But like our parents live like a couple blocks, city blocks away from each other in Toronto, and like 20 minutes to walk from one place to the other. It's crazy how close they are.
Yeah.
Did we'll get ready to let you go and make sure that she's doing fine. What was it? D the bud gal? T the bud gal?
T
I
for
love
Tony,
that.
yeah.
Was there though a moment of hesitation for her or stress at all in the relationship based on your consumption? Because people often look at us and ask those questions to say, well, one is a consumer, one is not. Oh, that must get stressful, or
Well,
is
you
there?
had some people in your life that might have been concerned. I might turn.
Yeah,
him.
like so. Was there anything in that? Like it sounds like you guys are in this great space, but was there anything that was connected to that where it caused maybe a hiccup, maybe with outside family relationships and stuff as well?
Not the consumption itself, but the creation. Definitely the creation.
Okay.
I think when I became a creator, there's a time where you kind of like all of a sudden you're doing things that you're not used to, and things become you feel a little bit like Dorothy and Oz, and you can get swallowed up pretty quickly and easily in it, and you can lose sight of things right in front of you by being in here. So the thing is that like I was never in real super threat of anything, but the important thing is, again, it takes a strong person to be able to communicate with you. And it took me a while to see that I was like maybe not as aware in real life as I should have been. Right. So I really offer balance. Like the thing is if you're going to do creation and you're going to have a garden and you're going to work, you have to have a life too. And everything requires kind of somewhat of a balance because it is symbiotic. You can't have it all and just shit on one, right? So as a content creator, like what you do learn is you learn to make your content more accountable. Like you maybe just you spend a little bit of time less, and you take the time to value the time. And I think the other thing too is when you do spend your time with the ones that you love, is you make it count. So you do all those things, and as long as there's good communication, it's always going to work out. But from a consumption standpoint, no, because I grow. Otherwise, but with that being said, like there's always that concern that I might be having. Like I have a plant count that I have to keep within, and she's aware of it. She keeps her eye on that and keeps me from maybe overstepping my boundaries a bit. Getting that. She keeps me from making those really stupid ideas otherwise. That's for damn sure,
It's so easy to go over.
If you think the stuff I do is stupid now, you should just imagine how I'd be without Tony, right? So,
well, and it's so easy to go over plant count too, because when you're making cuttings or popping seeds, you want to make sure you do enough because,
Yeah, you do, like, you gotta play with those new rules for sure. And you gotta take time. And I don't know, like, I'm a big fan of it. Like this summer, okay, as an example, I had a pretty big grow last summer, but this summer I'm not even gonna grow like outdoors cannabis this year. I don't think not necessarily at my house. I might do like an offsite something maybe, but in summary, my wife and I are gonna grow sunflowers there. I have some beautiful selection. Another grower that I met, that connection that I was looking for. That's the benefit of it, like So we're at the infamousy of it, but we're going to start a sunflower growing contest on Instagram. Nice. So we're going to spread love and sunshine through Instagram with sunflowers.
I like it.
It's amazing.
With that, you double lettuce and smoke it.
What I really liked about this conversation, Dee, is you're clearly a doobie. but you talk and communicate on a newbie level. And I was really caught up in the numerous ways where you used terms or whatever, and you immediately caught yourself and either adjusted or altered it. And there is definitely a teacher in you in that regard. So from a newbie, I just really enjoyed hearing somebody who, once again, is clearly a doobie, but speaks on a newbie level, and that's not easy to do. And so,
we definitely need more.
Yeah, so I would encourage people who are listening and following here to connect with Dee on social media. Where can they find you, Dee? Where can they hook up with you? Or not hook up with you?
Yeah, that's Dee's job.
So, hi. So I'm at Dee the Bug Guy. So as it likely says in the titling there, DTHEBUDGUY. And I'm also Dee the Bug Guy on YouTube. So I do have a WeedTube account, but I haven't really used it. So I'm kind of guilty that way, but I wanted to put my focus there. And for the growers that are interested in following some of the autoflower stuff, I do have a Grow Diaries account as well. So they're welcome to see some of the more detailed auto grows. I'm kind of coming to fruition as a grower when it comes to autoflowers, and we're always welcome to I can explain some of that to you one day if you like. I'll try and newbie it again. But the correction is because I really think that if you're going to come out and be an ambassador for cannabis, or even take the time to speak on behalf of yourself or anyone else, that we want to be good ambassadors. So we as cannabis ambassadors, we can't all sound like that typical stoner type, and we can't be that puff of smoke at the kids' playgrounds and stuff. We really do have to be cognizant of everybody around us, and if we do that, we're going to be better ambassadors, and we're going to be more welcome. So if you're at the beach, take your shit with you.
There's that raising the bar again.
Yeah.
Raise the bar to break the stigma.
That's it, right? And if you're using cannabis or considering cannabis as a medicine, then take the time to make sure you understand it. And if you've had a bad experience, then maybe consider trying something different. And I'm not trying to get you into it if it's not for you. I'm just saying is that, Timmy, you'd commented yourself, maybe a different strain or a different type of consumption might that might be the difference for you. That might be the difference that puts you as a doobie too.
Yeah. You just Dee, you just ultimately proved my point. My final question was going to be, because of everything I've seen about the way you communicate, it was going to be share something for the newbies out there, and you naturally just went in and shared a very specific message to newbies. I'm not even going to ask again. We just really enjoyed this conversation. MJ, any final thoughts, words?
I just want to thank you guys for having the platform that you do and for asking the questions. It does take bravery and it takes commitment. The level of professionalism you both have is second to none. I've done all kinds of talks and different things in that, but nothing on this well-organized level. And normally organization comes at a cost of fun, and you both have not done that. This is one of the most, if it isn't the most fun time I've had discussing this in at least a long time, if not ever. So once again, I look forward to meeting you again in person one time. And being we are so close in that, I know that because you're involved in the community that we're going to see each other. I will see you at Lift this coming year.
For sure.
I don't know if you guys have reserved booth 0 yet, but
we're getting it.
We'll be there.
Sure.
We'll have our onesies. We'll be there.
I really, and for anybody who doesn't know what that is, I just think it's so great that you're like, the hell is it? I'm going to Lift anyways. You set up, I got my own booth. You clearly decided and you went that it was your event, just like I went and decided that was my event. And I love that you did that too. So I think that's why we had so much fun.
That's awesome. Well, we definitely enjoyed meeting you there. We enjoyed this conversation, and we do look forward to connecting again.
Yeah, yes. The only one thing I would say touches on content creation, and I'm sure you know this. It's the reason why I think we are being as successful as we are, why we make it look as easy as we do, is because when you're creating content for yourself and not for so much for, like, we do create for other people, but we enjoy what we're doing. And I think that's the most important part, because if I actually cared about how many likes or how many views or all of that stuff, I would lose sleep. I would probably have a lot more gray hair and I would be discouraged to continue on. But I love doing this. I want to educate. I am passionate about cannabis. And the more people like you that we can connect with, the more knowledge we can share. And I'm just happy to be on this journey. So thank you again for
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dee, for joining us here on the spot with the Noobie and the Doobie. You can follow Dee the Bud Guy, like you said, both on Instagram and on YouTube. And from there, I'm sure you'll be able to follow everything else. Hugs to T the Bud Gal for us. We'd appreciate that.
Hope she feels better.
I appreciate that.
And we will connect with you again sometime in the future. Thanks so much, Dee.
Awesome.
Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace re-rolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning.
We're still in entertainment. Bring it on.
I've got a dewdrop to test out
So,
today.
You
And this
showed
is
that
made-
to us, but
This
how
is
does
made
it
by
work?
Dave.
Electric.
Dave, and I'm gonna mess up pronouncing his last name.
Pereira.
Roperas, correct.
Yeah.
Or Electric Dave on Instagram.
Yeah, and he's
He-
also the maker of the Happle.
Correct. And I've got that.
So
right
it's
here.
not Electric Dave though.
No, it's electric.
Electric. Electric.
Yeah,
Just so
Ur-
you know,
yeah, correct.
when you're looking for him.
ERRLECTRIC.
Electric.
Yeah.
Electric.
So there you go. This is his
Here,
dewdrop.
hold on now. Here, hold on. There you go.
This is
Yeah.
the dewdrop. As you can see, it's nice and clean, and it's nice and clean because I have not used it yet.
Okay.
On the top of the stem, this is the piece where your hash will stick to.
Mm-hmm.
You light your hash, you stick it in here, and
In the water?
Yeah, I've put
Ash goes
water.
in the water.
Yeah, no, it's
Well, no.
there's a glass enclosure.
Oh, okay. I see.
All right, and then
Here, let's make you bigger.
Nice.
Oh.
Wrong one.
Uh-oh. It's not going bigger than that. No. Okay, just go ahead, Al.
Okay, it's probably So there you go. It's hand blown. Dave does them all, and we've seen Dave at many events.
Yeah.
And so now
He's very well known in the community
correct.
and an amazing blower.
I've got some hash here. Now, what I have found, some hash will work really well, and some hash will melt.
Uh-oh.
And when it melts, it makes it a little harder for it to burn because it's melting.
Well, yeah, because it's also dripping.
Correct. Exactly. So I got leaves falling on me.
Yeah, you know what? It's really weird here. It was green up until about 3 days ago, and now everything's starting to
Falling,
turn.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got some hash burning here.
Do you find you waste a lot with these toys?
No.
No.
Okay, just gotta make sure it's burning. Ah, it's not burning. Come on, hash. I should have maybe put some on here previously. Tested it out. But then I would have smoked it all. Yeah, I got her going.
I haven't had any hash in a while.
So I put it inside there. You can see it filling up with smoke. You just see it doing its thing. It sort of looks like our background.
Yeah.
Nice and smooth. Oh,
Wow,
yes.
nice.
Yes, I like this.
And you could flavor the water as well, eh?
Yeah, I imagine you could. Yeah.
Put a couple of droppings of some terpenes or something in there.
And it's very, very nice. Dave says it's got a new reinforced stem on it here. And I'll tell you, this lid, it's just glass on glass. I have to tilt that to clear the chamber. It seals that well. Yeah, it's got the little bubbler in the bottom. 4 holes. The handle for this has got some ridges on it, so it's not a completely smooth surface, so it's good to grip onto. And, the thing about smoking hash too is it goes forever.
And what's the price range on those? You could have just said you don't know. Well,
I don't. I don't know. I don't know. Now I can tell you, the apple that I've got, the apple here.
Yeah.
I purchased it at Spirit Leaf in Campbellford, and it's a smaller version. I gotta clean it. This was $55, but it depends on the store, right?
Yes.
But if anybody's interested in one of these,
you can buy direct from Dave.
Correct. Yeah. Check your store, your local store, if you see if they've got one. Oh, stuff.
I was checking out another store. It says it's $55 too.
Pardon me?
I was just checking out a couple other stores. They're $55 too.
$55.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, it's coined one of the best hash pipes in Canada.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
no wonder Nugs was like, we want to brand it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I got a little cough on me, but
yeah, but that's a concentrate for me.
That's right. Exactly.
Any concentrate can make
nice,
it hack.
Nice, and it pulls nicely. It's easy to hold on to. And then it'll be easy to clean. Just like the apple will be easy to clean as well.
I put my student glass, I take it apart and put it in the dishwasher on the top.
Well, there you go. I don't know if I'd put that in the dishwasher, but
yeah, it might be a little too thin.
Yeah, but it's good stuff. So you can check out Dave's Instagram at Electric Dave, ERRLECTERIC Dave. Should have probably pulled him up on Instagram. And here is his page right here. There we go. Electric Dave. Some of his posts of his stuff. Oh, look at that. He's put an e-nail on it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I was wondering if the top had a different feature because it looks different.
Wow. That is cool. And I might be able to do that. I might be able to do that.
You know what? I enjoy I use the student glass more as a bong than I don't even have water in it at the moment.
No, you just use it dry.
Just use it dry with the module as my vaporizer, and throw some shatter in there or some diamonds. I've got 1 scoop of diamonds left. Yeah,
Right.
it's my movie watching bong. I don't own a bong. That's the only thing. I use my shatterizer and my student glass.
Now here it is with a banger on it. Is that a banger on the front of it there?
Yeah, that's. I was wondering because the way the thing, it just looks different.
Yeah.
Here, let's make it big, Al. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
That's cool.
Funny. I've got like 6 bongs and I don't use any of them. Oh, 7, 8. 8 bongs.
Now he's got.
I've got a glass one, a raw one up there on the shelf, but I don't use it.
So he's got a bowl on it.
Yeah,
there.
he basically made it like an it's in everything.
Yeah,
that's gonna smoke everything. Flour, concentrates.
Yeah, you can see he's changing it out, eh?
Yeah.
The drop.
You're a genius.
Yeah, he did.
Fucking brilliant. I wondered because as soon as I seen that, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, I've seen the hash kettle for years, but you look at the hash kettle prices, holy fucking shit. You could buy like 6 or 7 of the Happles.
Yeah.
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 Why would you buy that other thing?
Steven, fuck off.
There he is. Okay, yeah.
That's the e-nail.
With the e-nail on it. Yep, carb. Nice. Nice job, Dave.
Just beauty.
Yeah.
Very
Check out his Instagram. Check out his products. No doubt about that. It looks like it's multifunctional.
So the dewdrop.
Yeah.
Dewdrop.
Yeah.
How many dews does a dewdrop drop if a dewdrop could drop dew?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Dave.
You should post that in our chat. Post a link to his Instagram in the chat here in the comments.
Yeah, but I think. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, how much dew would a dewdrop drop if a dewdrop could drop dew?
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just repeat to see if I could say.
How much hash could a Happle hash if a Happle hash could Happle hash?
If a hash could Happle, or if a Happle could hash?
Sound drunk. Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll be back after this toke.